Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Patrons review today that I'm doing for Andreas, part of their custom monthly music review. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track for today. It is Perfect Creature by the Cydonia Collective with Alice Rose Wild. So we're going to listen through this track from start to finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Oh, this is instantly beautiful from the start. Fantastic use of those synth textures there with the lead and the pad on the left. Oh, guitars as well. And strings. And bass. Oh, slide guitar as well. Dude, there is so much to appreciate already. Wonderful atmosphere. Do I have lyrics? Actually, there aren't lyrics for this. I remembered to put lyrics in here, but then no. The one time I remember to press the lyrics button, dude.
She glides beneath the blue world unchanging. She's a perfect creature.
I love the attention to detail with the composition itself. Like, don't get me wrong, Alice is a fantastic singer, but at the same time, there's just so much to appreciate with not only the chord progressions and the bass line that's been here, which is relatively minimalist and effective, but also just the structuring of these various sort of guitar and synth parts and how wonderfully magical it is. It's really beautiful and it's really stunning, and the tone that Alice has here with her voice matches it incredibly well. Airy and laden with reverb and charming. Interesting choice to have the little rattle there on the side as well. Is that like one of those, what is it? There's a specific instrument I'm thinking of. They're like circular and they've got little domes. Cloud drum. That's like a cloud drum or something like that they've got here. When they're talking about like the winter and everything like that and the airiness of it, you know, the pristine nature of it, it kind of, you know, having that instrument from that part of the world there is a great choice. It's tonally, stylistically really well connected. How do they come up with this stuff? It's stunning.
She meets the morning, sleeping shadows in that earthly place. Beneath the waves, the siren song reflection. She's a perfect creature.
I'm not quite sure what the song is about. Like, I'm listening to her, but I'm not hearing all the words clearly, which is a shame because she's a fantastic vocalist. I think it might be. I mean, I'm going to take a stab at what I think it's about just for the sake of reviewing it. Is this about like whales? Because I can see the album art or the art for it, and it's like a whale tail. And I hear about talking, like sleeps beside me like a ghost or something like that, or sings like a ghost, and like siren songs and stuff like that. She's a perfect creature, sleep under the blue. Yeah, I think it's about being like a whale or like something like that. And it's about talking about their experience and them being a perfect creature. I could be wrong. I'm doing my best to understand it. Because this is the conclusion of my SP Patrons video, my review of Perfect Creature by Cydonia Collective. What I think this track is about, well, I think I've kind of given it my best shot. I think it is about the creatures under the sea, how they are practically perfect creatures. Whales are wonderful, you know. I think they're fantastic animals. I've seen them when I did whale watching here in New Zealand. And I don't think you can really grasp how big and how majestic they are until you see one. You just see part of its back and it's as big as the boat you're on. You know what I mean? Absolutely spectacular. I like the fact that we've made a song about this. I think that it's charming. I like the fact that Alice Rose Wilde told it. Even though I did not get all the words through clearly, I think part of that is because of the vocal style that we had, where we had a more of a legato-ish feel alongside the reverb effects. And that situation there means that the notes and the consonants are softened a little bit. Things become more of a kind of a ghostly, kind of like fluttering by, like butterflies going around your headphones, rather than sort of hard hitting kind of those kind of sounds. So it can be a little bit more sort of like difficult to hear the words clearly. But I think the parts I did hear gave me enough context to be able to appreciate the scope of it. And I think that there was some parts, I don't want to talk about the actual instruments part yet, but I think some of them were making whale songs with their instruments, which is really dope, really cool. I think that it was really compelling to hear Alice sing alone in the mix. They didn't feel the need to harmonize her with anything. She was just enough by herself. She had a fantastic control of her head and chest voice there. Clear experience on the microphone. Made the style of performance, the way we expressed ourselves made sense for the style of the story, and ultimately everything was really well connected. So the vocals were fantastic. The structure of the track at just under 4 minutes fits into that 2 to 4 minute sweet spot there. We had plenty of stuff going on with the various verse and chorus parts there. In fact, it might even have been like just different verses with the "She's a Perfect Creature" part with the bit on the end. I think we just had a mixture of parts where Alice was singing and then other sort of instrumental builds and all that kind of stuff going on. And I love that. I think that's a really great way of doing it. It can be kind of through composed and let it be more of a journey than anything else, like you're going through the ocean with the whale. It doesn't need to be A, B, A, B, A. We don't live in that universe anymore. We have unlimited resources and, you can just do whatever you want, especially when you're working with people like the Cydonia Collective, who are obviously just as competent instrumentally, production-wise, as Alice Rose Wilde is. I was blown away by the way that the instruments did their things, where we had, again, lovely little synth parts, synth leads, and then the synth pads with the development of the bass, and then the guitar parts, and then you had some drum parts come in, and it was just so quick, and it just cut to the chase, but in a really classy, sophisticated, and stylish way. It was wonderful to hear the speed of that development there compositionally. At the same time, there was still a sense of, it was very relaxing to listen to. There was a hint of sadness there for some reason, as if to say that we're at risk of losing that perfect creature, but maybe I'm just reading too much into it from the harmonic and emotional perspective. But also, I think that if you just think for a second about being a whale, why does it have to be happy in order to be perfect? I think that the idea of a whale going through the ocean by itself, and it would be a kind of a sad journey, but that's part of its life. And I suppose part of why it's so perfect is that it can be alone if it wants to. It doesn't need anything else more than itself. I think that's wonderful. The different ideas with the different instruments were charming. They were really, really interesting to listen to. there was nobody overplaying. There was clear attention to detail, both in the way they were positioned in the stereo field, and they were notched in different parts of the frequency spectrum so that nothing argued with one another. There were no weird imbalances there. I like the fact that we had other different textures, like the clicky kind of sounds there, although I'm not quite sure what they were there for. I didn't quite understand that, but I nonetheless appreciate it. Also, we didn't have new elements right in the center of the stereo field. In fact, actually, we did have some harmonies there with the vocalist, I think. The reason I say that is because now that I think about the panning of it, there was a vocalist on the left, and then it was like she was off to the left a little bit, so it's like unsettling. It's like, why is she singing on that side and not on the center? Then, oh, she comes in on the right side. So there was an attempt to play with the listener's expectations there, which I enjoyed because it made it less of a predictable experience. The bell curve for the intensity of performance was very smooth. There weren't any really sort of bombastic wild parts and no absolute lulls. Really soothing to listen to, and I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to review it today. I think the percussion worked well as to establish a slow dance kind of groove with the rest of the bass, sort of guitar synth elements there. There was a great synergy between the various elements there. And while there was a little bit of complexity to the harmony, there might have been some extensions. We typically played within the key signatures and scale shapes that we instantiated at the start, so that was great. I think that overall, I think the actual performance was damn near flawless, and I'm really happy with it. The production, recording, mixing, mastering was much the same. I don't have any complaints about it whatsoever. In fact, I really don't have any complaints about the song at all. In general, I think the recording quality of the vocals. I mean, I know I said that there was a bit too much reverb for me here. Hear the notes clearly, but I think it was part and parcel with the style of music they were trying to do. So I think stylistically it made sense, and as the measure, I suppose if you're looking at it from a more literal perspective and needing to be able to understand the story is part of having a successful listening experience, then maybe that's the only thing, is we could have potentially had a bit less reverb, but maybe it was meant to be that misty. I don't know, it doesn't really matter too much because I enjoyed it regardless, but that's just something I should note for transparency. We definitely smashed out of the park the situation with the recording of the various other instruments. The filtering and EQ of those were great. Lovely reverb and delay chains there on some of those. There wasn't a whole lot of compression on the individual instruments either, which I appreciate, although to be fair, there may have been some on the vocals to get the reverb compressed. So that's fine, just get more of kind of a thicker kind of reverb tone there that matched more closely with the vocals. A lovely use of panning the various instruments in the stereo field there. They weren't always in the center, they were in unpredictable positions, which made it more interesting to listen to. So that was really good. It was just charming all the way through, there were no weird resonances in the frequency spectrum. It was nice and loud without pumping, but there was also dynamic range there. I mean, ultimately, this is just a really positive review of Perfect Creature by Cydonia Collective, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go check out the Cydonia Collective as well as Alice Rose Wild via their various social medias and their Spotify page, and stay cool and stay safe. Please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next SP Patrons video. Spiderhands out.